Hey everyone, Sean O'Connor here from Macabre Daily, and we're bringing the ghost of Edgar Allan Poe in the house with Matthew Mercier, the author of Poe I, which is, Matthew, hopefully I'm not misrepresenting this. It's not autobiographical, but it's damn near close because you were the docent and caretaker at the Poe cottage in the Bronx. And there's a lot of that in the novel, right? A lot of your experiences.
Oh yes. No, it is not autobiographical. That is true. The narrator's life is far more harrowing than mine, but it is yeah, when I moved into I was the caretaker for about 4 years,
All right.
2002 to 2006 roughly. So, and I always knew it would be a great novel. So I said I have to collect all these experiences. Yeah.
There's so much that I want to ask you, but I have to start with how the hell did you end up with that gig?
I was unemployed. It was post 9/11. I was in a bar on the Bowery I was in Dempsey's pub, and my friend turned to me and said, "You need a job, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, do you want free rent for the rest of your life?" I said, "In New York? Like, what do I have to do?" Like,
Who do I have to kill?
yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Who do I have to do? He's like, "How? That doesn't exist." And so he told me about the Poe cottage in the Bronx and the caretaker. I didn't know about Poe's residence in the Bronx at all. I just thought Baltimore and Philly.
Same.
Yeah, nobody knew. I mean, nobody knows. It's like the last 3 years of his life. So they said, yeah, you just have to be the caretaker. You have to live on the premises and give tours. We know the guy that's there now. So they gave me his number and I contacted the Historical Society. And one thing led to another, and then I landed an interview before they even placed it in the newspaper. So I was just very persistent because if I didn't get the free rent, I was going to have to leave New York and go back to my parents' house. So I was desperate,
Yeah.
which was a good motivator. So that was really just it. I just pushed and pushed. I called the Historical Society and just gave a bunch of they provided. I needed to give 6 references.
Whew.
And
That's all right. Yeah, they want to make sure that someone doesn't go in there and they're rolling kegs in the back door.
well, yeah, they had some bad hires in the past. So
Okay. All right. Let me backtrack. So you've got the job at the cottage. Give me a little background on did you become an author after the fact, or were you already writing? Give me some of your history, your literary history.
uh, I've wanted to be a writer for a long time. And so yeah, I would seek out gigs where I didn't have to pay too much rent. So this was like I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Perfect.
So I was writing at the time, but Sean, God, I was in my 20s. I had nothing I wrote from that period is worth saving. I
Oh, I don't believe that.
no, I mean, was looking at some of my notebooks earlier. No, I was writing at the time, but I was still trying to figure out how to write well. I knew I was going to be a writer. I knew that I would one day publish a book. I just didn't know when. So yeah, it was a great gig. I had plenty of time, but everything I wrote just got met with rejection after rejection. So that was, yeah, not untypical. I mean, it's this typical life of a young writer. I was in my 20s, so still trying to figure out who I was as well.
Yeah, as we all are in our 20s. Oh boy, I'm in
Right.
my 50s. I still don't know if I figured it out, but maybe someday.
You seem on the right track. You got vampire posters back there. I think you're pretty, you know,
Old dog, new tricks. I'm too old to change. So what it is, it
what
is.
it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So now let's just so that we give everybody whiplash. Now let's get back to the cottage. So you've got the job. Was there any trepidation of like, all right, this is fantastic. I'm living rent free. I'm in Poe's cottage in the Bronx. This is full of history and it's great. And then that first night, as you're turning the lights out, where you're like, uh-oh.
That's exactly it. I was like, Jesus, what have I gotten myself into? Because that's me, Sean. I jump into things. I have just asked my wife. I just go, oh yeah, that'd be great. And then all of a sudden, like, what have I done? But I had the free rent. So that was like the stabilizing force. But man, it was lonely. I don't know if you ever lived by yourself, but it was hard.
Yeah.
Hard, extremely
Yeah.
hard. You have to build community. I didn't know anybody in the Bronx, and I didn't know anybody in New York. I had only been there 3 or 4 months. So
That's tough. I mean,
it was tough. It was tough. It was really rough for a long time.
all
And
right.
but it helped me mature. I had to figure out how to build community from scratch. So and the apartment was in the basement, so that didn't help with, my biological clock got all screwed up. And but yeah, living alone will teach you a lot about yourself. That's for sure.
And I mean, I've lived alone myself, and you kind of, it's like when you watch those old movies, and like, the caretaker, the guys in the cabin in the woods, and he hears every single sound. I mean, it starts to turn into that after a while. You just get used to it, but those first couple of weeks were probably a little. There was a lot of adjustment. Let's put it that way.
A lot of adjustment. But I had the job to keep me stabilized, and I had to do a lot of reading. I had to obviously read.
Learning about Poe, yeah.
Yeah, and that was what kept me entering into his psyche, like just reading everything he wrote, like everything was a huge education. I felt like a scholar at the end of it. So
Now, Matthew, I'm so curious. At what point are you starting to give the tours? I mean, is this something that is open to the public, or is it more scheduled?
it was Saturdays from 10 to 4 and Sundays from 1 to 5. You had to be there every weekend.
Wow.
No training. I just went right into it. And my first guest was a Poe scholar,
Oh, no.
historical. Yeah. Oh, they dressed me down. It was bad.
Like, why couldn't it be someone like from Ohio?
Right.
Never heard of Poe.
Exactly. Why couldn't it be like a Japanese tourist or somebody who, it was so bad. It was so bad. I thought, and they said, this is your first day, isn't it? I was like,
Very much so, yeah.
much can you tell? But they were so sweet. They were like, well, you just got to do a bit more reading. But I got all my facts wrong. I got all my dates. I think the Historical Society was just looking for somebody who wasn't going to burn the place down. You didn't have to be a Poe scholar, but man, yeah, that was a bit humbling.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've known you now for about 11 minutes, and I would have hired you as well. You just have personality. It's
Uh,
no wonder that you and Atone are friends. You guys have great personalities. So even though you didn't know all there is to know about Poe, I would feel confident that, all right, you know what, you have you've got all the ingredients to be a great tour guide, because you have that kind of personality. I would follow you through creepy house.
Well, only after I took the job did I realize you'd follow me through a creepy house. Oh, I didn't catch that. Yeah, that dude. Wait till we get to the dating portion. Dating was like a real. Oh man.
I have
Oh,
so many questions about that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, my first job was as a tour guide. Actually, I didn't realize.
You
Yeah,
came to the yeah.
I was a tour guide at the Mystic Marine Life Aquarium in Mystic, Connecticut.
Know it and love it.
Yes, so that was my first in high school. That was my first gig. So I was like, oh, I can do this. So yeah.
All right. You've already opened Pandora's box. I have to ask you. So here you are, handsome, personable guy, and you're giving tours on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be like goth heaven. So the dating scene must just naturally one leads to the other. Come on, give me some stories.
You would think. No. No, no.
No?
No, Jesus, no.
Shocked.
Let's role play. Like, to imagine, like, hey, you want first of all the parties that were in Brooklyn, like everything. I had to go to Brooklyn to go to all the parties, and so it was like,
Wait, Matthew. For our listeners not familiar with the geography of the boroughs of New York, could you tell them how far away Brooklyn and the Bronx are?
on the weekend, like the end game, forget about it. It's like an hour and a half to the party, and then yeah, forget about it. And then, oh yeah, if I mean, yeah, do you want to come back to my place? It's an hour and a half
An hour and
subway
a half
ride
away?
to the Bronx, and then we're gonna get off the train and walk on a dark city street in the Bronx that you never heard, and then we're gonna get to the park, like the cottage is in a park with a locked gate surrounding it. I'm the only one with the key, so we're gonna walk in the gate. I'm gonna lock the gate behind us, and then here's the cottage. Are we gonna go in the cottage? No, we're gonna go in the basement, in the noise canceling basement, where a man famously wrote stories about dead women. So like nobody, so It
These,
took a while.
yeah, these may have been some lonely years for you. Oh,
That is, oh, Sean. No, initially I had to really get to know someone before they would come back to the cottage. But it's got a happy ending because the woman who would become my wife, I told her about it and she came to visit me at the cottage. This is before I had a cell phone and I forgot about the date and I locked the gate. I was like, oh, she blew me off. And then she just appears at the window, and I was like, "Well, how did you scared the hell out of me?" She had come all the way to the Bronx to see me, and then she had turned over a garbage can to climb over the fence to get into the. She's like, "I'm not leaving without seeing you and seeing this job you told me about." So, and that's yeah. So my wife, I was like,
that's
"Well,
true love.
you're the woman for me if you did."
That is you. I mean, you just stole the words right out of my mouth. I'm like, you know what? All right, I guess you like me. If
Like me.
you're tipping over the garbage can, going over the fence, and then coming into the creepy cottage,
Right, illegal, yeah. A
kiss me.
blonde Norwegian girl, like looking in the Bronx, like climbing over the fence, like that. I was like, yeah, no, you're the
Oh,
one.
that's great. All right, I have to ask before. Look, I definitely want to get to the book. I absolutely want to get to the book because I want to know how much of Jonah Peabody is within you,
Uh,
and what is just what you created. But I have to ask, just from the real life experience, any spooky stories?
the house does have, I don't normally get mystical, but it does. His wife died in the cottage. His wife died in the cottage. And there was just an energy that I could not shake. I could not shake it. It was definitely there. I did not see anything. I heard things. My auditory senses were always playing tricks on me. But honestly, the scariest thing that happened was a rat breaking into the apartment, dropping on top of my bed. That was like an H.P. Lovecraft, the rats just, yeah. So, um, but the house, I can't, I could never shake the feeling that
Somebody was there.
somebody was there, like whether or not it was corporeal or not. It was just, but I was always told to not tell people, like Jonah is told in the book, don't tell people the cottage is haunted, right? Because we're gonna have Mythbusters here and everybody.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
were very serious about that.
You open the floodgates. Yeah.
But houses have energy. They have this vibe, and there was yeah.
What I kind of love, I won't give away, and if you want to say where you live, that's great, but I won't give away where you live. I don't want anybody stalking you. But what I kind of love is that you've gone from Poe's cottage in the Bronx to another area in the country that is notoriously haunted,
Yeah,
and just ripe
hype.
with stories of,
The Hudson Valley. Yeah, it is. That's why I love it. I love regional stories. I love ghost stories. I love folklore. So yeah, the Hudson Valley is ripe for that.
you are right in the wheelhouse of, I mean, it's just like chef's kiss. There's so much great stuff there. Here's what I love as someone who interviews great authors like yourself. Um, there's a decent amount in the Hudson Valley, and what I love is that I will interview authors who are not in the Hudson Valley. Maybe they're Stephen Graham Jones, and he's out in
Oh,
Texas, and he's like, you know, we got better ghosts here and more fucked up stuff here. And then John Langan's like,
John Leggett.
that's absolute bullshit. Everybody's so proud
Oh
of
yeah.
their hauntings and their monsters, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, John Langan he's across the river. God, yeah, he's our patron saint of the horror Hudson Valley. He's got it all. So yeah, he knows so much
You're in good
about.
company up there. You really, really are.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get into the novel. Okay. I'm just going to I'm going to give you a compliment, and I hope you take it as a compliment. I love your writing style. That's not hard to say, oh, thank you. But your style reminds me of it's the rhythms of it. I'm not going to use the word snappy because that's not it. It's the pace of it. It reminded me very much, even though it's a different genre, of like Elmore Leonard and like Donald Westlake. Like there's this rhythm, and forgive me because I'm not a man of words like yourself, and I'm proving it in real time. But there's this great rhythm to it, and there's this natural cadence, and and it's got like it's got this sheen of cool to it, like Elmore Leonard. Like the novel starts and you're just scooped up, and you have to, whether you want to be scooped up or not, you are, and you're along for the ride. Boy, does that ride go a lot of different places. We get dark, but there's humor. And then there's lighthearted, and then there's dark. I mean, we go all over the place, but again, I'm not a man of words, even though, I host an interview, so weird, but it is that, you're along for the ride from the very first sentence. And being a New Yorker myself, you had me at hello, because your joke about 10th Street and 4th Street, and how can this be immediately? And I was like, oh, Matthew, all right. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm glad. That makes that. Thank you. Elmore Leonard's a huge compliment. He's one of my favorites. Yeah.
You've got style for days, my friend. Style for days, and you back that up with really tight writing. Let's forget I used the word snappy. What I meant was tight. It's it just picks you up, and you just go, man, you go. And I love stories like that. And especially if if they're heartfelt and emotional, but they have all the components, like, look, they've got all the emotions that we experience, on a daily basis are there on the page, and they come through and they feel real and they resonate and they land properly. And I appreciate that, because I read a lot and sometimes they don't. And I know everybody tries their hardest. I never want to knock someone, but you got it.
Oh, thank you. That's Sean. Right. That's very kind. That's very thank you. It took, I guarantee you, it took a while to get there. Whatever you're looking at, there's like tons of failures in the background. So, but that dialogue, I love writing dialogue. So the Elmore Leonard, I just, dialogue is so much fun. Dialogue mixed with action. Like people, I like to write in a theatrical, I like to see the people move through a space and pick up something, and so yeah, that's a great compliment. Thank you so much. I tried to give it a little noir edge.
Now, Matthew, this is like a magic trick. We have to tell the audience we have never met before, like we have to quantify it. But I knew that you had lived a life, meaning that, you did a little bit of this, maybe a little bit of that. Like you had like a savvy to you, and that you knew your settings, that you were definitely someone. I don't know where you grew up, but you had spent time in the city and you had the rhythm of it, and it comes through on the page. Like I picked up on that immediately. And, for me, that was just like, that's catnip. I'm just in.
That's great, man. Thank you so much. That's so kind to hear. I've been told that it feels like a authentic noir kind of.
Very much so.
But it has like the rhythm, and then it has the pace. And when I rewrote the book, that's what I had to rewrite this many times. That's what I was going for. I was reading a lot of detective fiction, and obviously we're talking about the man who invented the detective fiction.
Yeah.
I thought, why not make this a little bit of horror, a little bit of noir? I love mashing things up. I love it. I live for it, actually. I don't like being pigeonholed. And so the fact that it's kind of a little bit of light, a little bit of dark, and humor is absolutely important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Without humor, I don't know. You have to laugh a little bit.
There has to be that balance. I'm not saying that I haven't read or watched movies that just start dark and go, darker.
People.
Yeah. There's definitely a time and a place for that, and I appreciate those, but I'm more of a balance reader myself. I will look, you want to take me somewhere dark, I'll go with you, but if you can lift me up a little bit and give me like a little bit of breathing room, right, just to collect myself before you wallop me again, which you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, well, like this bruise right here we'll call that one Matthew.
Well, that's what everyone says after the first chapter. They're like, what the fuck?
I mean, but look, this is a spoiler-free zone because I want everyone to buy this book. I really do. And viewers and readers for the eventual article that will come and review, Matthew, that will come to
Oh,
support this.
fantastic.
Your social links will be in the article, and where to buy this book will be in the article. So everybody can just scroll on down and click a button, and you just got yourself a great gift.
Thank you so much, Sean. That's so generous of you.
All right, let's talk about Jonah.
Mm.
Let's talk about his development. Where did he come from? Were you pulling life experiences? I'm always so fascinated when I have an author in front of me to find out a little bit about their process.
Jonah came directly from my subconscious. I can't explain completely, but once he was there, once he and his sister were there, his sister is a huge part of the book.
Absolutely.
Once they were there, I knew their story was going to be the fulcrum. And I can't, yeah, he just introduced himself to me, which sounds mystical and crazy, but that's exactly what it was. And I knew he was going to be unreliable. I know he's first person, so there's no spoilers there. Like he's hiding something, but I knew he had to be funny. I knew he had to have heart, otherwise people wouldn't follow him for 300 pages. But honestly, yeah, where he came from, the name just popped in there. And
It's
then,
a great name, by the way.
yeah, I just loved the name. And once I have a name and a location, I have to know like where they grew up. And once I know like the environment that they've come from, then the rest is easy. But until I know their name, until I know what kind of family they have, what they care about, a few small details, and then I just build the character from there. So really, that's how all my characters start. They just start with a little subconscious, like my subconscious tells me their name and tells me, and then I just build and build and build. So that's where he came from. Just I don't know if that's a satisfying answer, but
No, it is, and I love the name so much because it's timeless. I mean, Jonah could be stepping off a whaler, in Norfolk, Virginia, or he could be your favorite bartender around the corner today.
yeah,
It's just it's a great timeless name. And when I talk to authors, they tell me sometimes the hardest goddamn part is naming my characters.
yeah, it
Because
is. And you can't change the name. I feel like once you've named them, it's difficult to change their name because then it's like a personal friend at that point, which sounds psychotic, but it is.
no, it does not. It does not, and it's so funny. If I have to start keeping a tally where you say that Jonah just came out of your subconscious. Damn near every author that I've interviewed says the same thing. Like they just came to me. They just appeared, and then they're talking about a particular moment in the novel, and I'm like, well, so did you see that months, if not years ahead? And they're like, no, that just as I was writing, that just appeared. Like it just, and it wasn't even. I was just a conduit with my fingers, and it just happened on the page.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how. And then there is one element of him that is closely tied to me, and that was the relationship with his mother. It's not as extreme as the book,
Okay.
but my mother sadly she passed away 15 years ago, and I can't. After I was done with the book, I realized, oh, her death is all over this. Like this is somehow, which is very odd to say because once you read the mother in the book, she's very different. My mother was not this mother.
Okay.
But yeah, to make that clear. But her death is all over this book. Like I realized, oh, I was just channeling something and I don't know what.
But you weren't seeing it when you were in the moment. It was only after the fact.
It's only ever after the fact.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like it's really strange how that works. I think John Gardner called it dreaming. It was like a trance state. Like you just get in once you start telling the story, you think, oh, I'm telling their story, but then you realize your subconscious is working overtime. Stephen Graham Jones talks about this all the time. Like I hear him in interviews talk about the dad stuff in his books. Like it just, yeah. So I don't know. It's a weird feeling.
This is just my own kink, forgive me. I'm always so fascinated by a writer's superstitions and their process. When do you write? Do you have a certain time of day? What's that look like, and any superstitions?
About writing?
Yeah, about writing.
Suspicions about writing? Yeah.
Look, when we eventually meet for a beer, we can talk about the other superstitions.
I got plenty of other weird shit. But I write in the morning. I write in the morning. I tend that's when I'm freshest. However, I am learning to write at other times of the day, just
Okay.
because I have so much to do that I've learned to. And I have, we don't have kids, but I still have a busy household and I have all these things,
Sure.
as you know, as it happens. So I have to, I write in the morning, but it's not like peace and quiet. I have to go out. Like the propane guy showed up the other day. I had to go out and talk to him. I get something that happens, and so I have just had to train myself to be able to deal with interruptions. Ideally, I would have like 5 hours in the morning, and that would be my day, banker's hours basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a very hard time writing at night. I'm pretty useless. Yeah.
Just gonna say I'm fairly useless from morning through the night, but
No, I was gonna say I'm impressed that we're doing this late because usually, but this is the kind of energy I bring when I'm at night. Like I can't focus. I can't, not on not on the words.
birds of a feather. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh,
All right. We're sadly getting towards the end, but there's something that tells me Matthew is going to be a return guest for sure for Macabre Daily. I have to ask you a couple of things before we split. What are you working on now, if anything? I don't want
yeah.
to put any pressure on you, but what you got?
I just finished a novella. I love the novella form. I just finished a novella, which is easily one of the strangest and up things I've written. It's about pornography and sex. Like it's just this strange. A man watches a porn video, and he thinks he hears something. It's like this really surreal. Yeah. So that stay with that.
Will this be Crystal Lake as well, or?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't.
All right,
No,
fingers crossed.
fingers crossed.
Come on, Crystal Lake.
Come on, Joe. Um, but I've got another novel in the works that I just about 50,000 words in.
Okay.
So we'll see where that goes. I've got so many ideas that it's hard to keep focused on one. So
Well, you got a fan. You got a fan, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be a multitude of fans because I really enjoy your writing. It is crisp and fun and frightening, and it's really good.
thanks, man. Thank you so much. That's so generous of you.
Oh, please. I mean, I thank you. Thank you for a great time reading Poe and I. Matthew, as I said, you will be a return guest. I'll figure out how to get you back. I've got a couple of ideas and I'm gonna loop in that a tone as well, so I'm gonna apologize now.
Hey, man, we have us together. I've only met him a few times, but he's very friendly and very
He
affable.
is.
So yeah.
He is. I love to tease Robert, but he is no, he's a class act. He's a good guy. So, but this is about you, Matthew. So, before we split, where can people find you and where can we best support you?
Well, let's see. I've got three. I'm going to be are you familiar with Horror Readers Weekend? Have you heard of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Christine, have you met Christine? Yeah. Maybe online you've met her, but I'll be at the one in Virginia. She's got one down in Fredericksburg coming up in a
Excellent.
month. I'll be there. I will likely be at StokerCon. Will you be in Stanford?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll see you there.
And I just got invited to ReaderCon in Boston. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Have you heard of this? I pitched them a couple ideas. So I'll be there.
I want to say I heard about it from, look at me shamelessly name dropping, but I can't help myself. I think Jonathan Jans was the one who told me about ReaderCon.
Possible, yeah. It's in Boston. It's in the middle of July.
All right.
Yeah.
Austin. Oh, there's nothing to do there.
Nothing at all.
Sounds like a good time.
But I'm all over the socials, and people can buy the book wherever they like. Amazon Bookshop. Crystal Lake sells it directly. So yeah, wonderful.
All of those links, viewers, right below. Click on the link, get the book. I can vouch Matthew is the goods. The book is fantastic. You're going to get a great, you know what, Matthew, and forgive me because I didn't emphasize this enough. You also get like a really great slice of New York. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
it just comes off the page. It's just soaked into the novel, and I just absolutely adored that. So, thank you
It's a
for agreeing
New,
with me.
it's a New York novel. Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, until we meet again, Matthew, this was an absolute pleasure. The book is Poe and I, and again, I can't stress it enough. Go out and buy it because it's a ripper.
Thank you so much, Sean.
You got it. I'll
All
see
right.
you soon, my friend.
You take care.